Hi, I'm going to document the creation of a domain project and making other Mule applications depend on this domain project. We use a domain project to share resources that are good to be reused across different projects rather than every project defining one on its own. The first thing is to create a domain project. We can do that directly from the Anypoint Studio. Go to new Mule domain project and then give a name, first domain, and then we're going to use Maven and define some group ID. I'm going to specify my name. The version, let it be just 100. Let the default be ignored, and then there are nothing much to configure than this, so I'll just go for finish. It is getting built in the background. So you can see our project first domain got created, and now we can configure our resources here, resources that we want to share across different projects. Let's start with the basic HTTP element, and the thing here is we don't get to use a graphical editor directly in a domain project. So unlike in a regular Mule project where you can just drag and drop a HTTP element which will take care of specifying the HTTP configuration here and then adding the relevant namespaces and schema location URIs, where we cannot have that here. Now we have to hand code everything. I'm actually following a dzone blog in the background, so I'm going to take these namespaces and schema location URIs which are relevant to this HTTP element. I'll start with the element HTTP listener config and then closing it. The elements I would have is name, then host, port, then an auxiliary doc name. I'm going to name this, the name should be without any spaces. So I'm going to name this as base HTTP connection. The host, I prefer it to be localhost. I'm going to specify 0000. Port is after our choice. It will be 9876 in this case. And then the doc name, just going to name it base HTTP connection. Now it cannot identify this HTTP element because we haven't specified the relevant namespaces and schema location URIs. It will be XMLNS HTTP. In case you are not sure about what schema location URIs and namespaces are going to be for your particular element that you want to share from this domain project, you can. There are two ways. You can either go through the documentation to find out the relevant information, or a simple thing is go to your Mule project or create an empty throwable Mule project and drag and drop this element which you are looking to add. Switch to the XML configuration view, and you can pretty easily find out what URIs need to be specified in the schema location and the relevant namespace definition, and just you can copy paste from that temporary Mule project into this domain project. So now, because I have details handy, I'm going to directly type these things: http www mulesoft.org schema mule http, and now I need the same declaration with an additional URI and the schema location too. So http www.mulesoft.org schema mule http, and then the specification of XSD as another URI, http www.mulesoft.org schema mule http current mule-http.xsd. There's a spelling mistake. Schema and another spelling mistake. Oh, all errors are gone. So from the text itself, I could see there are no complaints. I'm going to run this project for the first time. Run as Mule application with Maven because it's the main project. Yes. Now, yeah. So we can see it got deployed, which means it got successfully built. We can verify it by navigating through our local Maven repository. I'm in my home directory, so Maven, this is the default location. It will get placed in .m2, and then when I'm in m2, because I named my path as com.shashank, I'm going to go to inside repository. I need to go to com shashank, and I can see there is this domain project first domain. Navigating inside it, I can see when metadata.local.xml. Yep. So this got created and as it got built because it's a domain project, and that's all there is to it. We can continue to build Mule applications and make them dependent on this domain. I'm going to demonstrate how to do that now. We don't have any space here to click properly. Okay, go to new, a Mule project. I'm just calling it for the time being first child. First child is going to be Maven. I want it to be and the same namespace, because logically I am working for a definite project. Then I'll be using a definite domain for all the apps related to this project. That's all. I don't want the snapshot to be present here. I'm not interested in any further configuration for the project, accepting the defaults. Okay, so we have here first state.xml. Now the idea is to drag and drop a HTTP element, but make it utilize the HTTP configuration which we had in the domain project. Let's see how it happens. We have a HTTP element. We know this error. This is because we haven't specified a configuration inside it. We're going to do it just in a bit of time. Drag and drop a logger. I just want to log the payload, whatever is coming in. Let's just log the entire message. Yeah, just log the entire message. And then when we are going to define this attribute configure is required, we see that it is prompting, Mule is prompting us to define a new configuration because it is not aware of the presence of a domain project. Now, because we have this domain project running in the background, it's deployed. One way of doing it is going into mule deploy.properties and modifying this domain. But there's an even better way. Navigate to mule project XML rather, and you can see default defined here, but then if you drop down, you can see it already detected the domain being done in the background. It's a good thing. We change it, and in no time you can see this declaration that it is dependent on a domain called first domain. Good thing, and we can see build success. Now I'm going into my first child, and when I click on it, because that's the only HTTP connector available so far in this environment, say from this project's local environment or the domain, which in this case is the domain. It already selected the one, and we can edit anything here. The error is gone. So this is how you share resources using a domain project into every other project. And remember one thing, if you are clicking on edit or doing any things, or if you're going to XML view and edit something, the actual edits are going to take place in the connector, which is the domain project. So if you accidentally or intentionally edit something here, you need to understand that you are going to make every other project dependent on this domain elements get affected. I'm editing here. I think I'm just editing in my first child, but saying there are projects called second child, third child, and nth child dependent on your domain project. They are all going to see this change, this updated change, because one user of one project edited this. So that's all, and this is how you share a HTTP element. But feel free to share any other resources like different connectors, configurations, and even your own custom beans, as long as you specify the relevant namespaces and schema location URLs. And as long as you don't have an error here and the project gets deployed well, you can reuse the same resources at other places as long as they are defined to be dependent on this domain. Another point is, any project can only be dependent at any given time on a single domain, but a single domain can be shared by multiple projects, which is of course our intention behind creating a domain project, right? Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on this YouTube video or any other channel of communicating with me. Thank you. Bye.